Hi, this is Coralla at CorallaFicklin.com. Welcome, WYLCOME, welcomenetwork.com. And come in and you can see the other 25, 30, 25, 26, 27 other sites we have. And there you can be directed to download cards, or if you want to look at what we have on the websites about idiomatic English, about slang, about informal, more standard, about affixes. Right now, what I would like to talk about, and I find very interesting, because in a sense it's almost like a foreign language. It's looking at English, but English which is not American English. This is part of the language that fascinates me, because it's my language, but it's not my language. So when I'm watching a British movie, or an Australian movie, or a South African movie, or a movie from Jamaica, from Nigeria, and it's in English, or a movie from another English-speaking country, an Indian movie, but an Indian movie made in English, or a Pakistani movie, but a Pakistani movie made in English, and they use expressions that, as they say, go right over my head. And when something goes right over your head, that means you don't understand it. I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating also that it can be an expression, and I understand every single word in the expression, but I don't understand the expression. I remember the movie, I think it's called A Full Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, and I didn't know what that meant, a full Monty, until someone told me, or I looked it up, and a full Monty means to be totally desnudo, naked, right? To be totally naked, to be in the nude, or in American English to say, to be in your birthday suit. If you're in your birthday suit, that means you're totally and completely naked. Or also what fascinates me is that in American English, the expression means one thing, and British English, it means maybe just the opposite. For example, what just happened in the United States with the health bill, and if you table, we have Congress, they have Parliament. If you table a bill, in American English, to table a bill means to take the bill and no longer talk about it. It's there, but it's dead. You're no longer going to talk about it. When British English, and then frankly in British English it makes more sense, because if you table a bill, that means you put the bill on the table, and if you put the bill on the table, that means it's there for you to talk about. But in British English, to table a bill means to now begin to talk about the bill, to see how you can resolve it, what kind of deals you can make. So we're going to look at non-American English. Okay, and sometimes I'll tell you where this expression or word is from. And when I say British English, that means it's not just from England, but maybe they'd use it in Ireland and in Scotland and maybe even Australia and parts of India and Pakistan. Because outside the United States, I think a lot of people speak British versus American English. Okay, now this is an expression, and some of this is slang, and some of this would be standard English in Britain. All right, for example, absolute privilege. Now, absolute privilege means nothing in American English. And one reason is that in American English we don't have Parliament. But this is an expression from Parliament, and let me just read to you. I'm reading from the card, directly from the card itself, that you can download at istudycards.com. The right to say, this is in the Parliament, the right to say or write something without the risk of incurring legal action for defamation. So I assume that a member of Congress, a member of Parliament has absolute privilege. So therefore he doesn't have to worry that if he says something, he will be sued. Okay? Versus if I do it or you do it, we can be sued. Excuse me. To make an about turn. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. To make an about turn. To make, now in American English, we don't say to make an about turn. We say to make an about face. Okay? Or we also say to flip-flop. And a lot of politicians are accused in the United States of flip-flopping. That is, they say one thing and then they turn and say something else. To do a 180 degrees or to shift ground or basically to change. If you make an about turn, that means that one day you support the war, something happens, let's say you listen to the polls, and then you don't support the war. In American English it says, oh, he's a flip-flopper, he changes according to the wind. To be a bubble. Now, I have never heard that in American English, a bubble. Now, this is from British English, and it means to be excited, to be anxious, to be very excited, to be a bubble. In American English, I guess the closest we could say, if you're going to talk more slang, would be to be bubbly. You know, to be very bubbly, to be very excitable. Okay. That expression I've never. Okay. This is from Scottish English. This is from Scotland versus United States of, I guess, versus Great England, and this is in, it's in the UK, but it's Scotland, and it's called ABC minors. Minors are spelled M-I-N-O-R. Now I know what a minor is. A minor is someone less than 18 years old. But we don't have an expression in English that says ABC minors. Scottish English, and it means Saturday morning movies for children. So on the Saturdays, the children get up early in order to watch a movie. And I guess in Scotland they say ABC minors. That's what type of movie it is. Okay. Let's see. In British English, I know that it used to be considered very vulgar. I don't know if that's true anymore, to say a bloody and then a bloody shame or a bloody lie or whatever. In American English, if you say a bloody, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, we understand it means a bloody, but it doesn't have any type of, reaction. And use as an expletive or profane interjection or oath. For example, if you say he's a bloody fool, you hear it in British movies, but it really has no meaning. And you don't hear people say, well, he's a bloody fool. You don't hear that in American English. Oh, I like this one. A blonde moment, which is sort of insulting to someone who's blonde. B-L-O-N-D-E. The E meaning it's female, because sometimes that's from French. This is British English, and it means to be an instance of being foolish, silly, stupid, empty-headed, or feather-brained. You say, well, I just had a blonde moment, because blondes, even in American English, have the reputation of being rather stupid, which is a stereotype, of course. In American English, you won't say I had a blonde moment. You'll say I had a senior moment, which is, insulting to someone who's older. Okay. Above the salt. I like this expression. To be above the salt. This is an old expression. It's British English. To be in a place or position of distinction and of power. Okay? To be above the salt. We have quite a few expressions in English that use salt. For example, you'll say, he's not worth his salt. But that's American English also. Okay, let me give you another one. Oh, this is Cockney rhyming slang. My first Cockney rhyming slang. And Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, I have to say more like the British so it can rhyme. Abraham Lincoln, and the rhyming slang would be stinking. Which doesn't make that much. I guess you say he's Abraham Lincoln, so he's stinking. I don't know. But it's Cockney rhyming slang. I'm going to be back with part 2 of looking at non-American English.